Starting with Broken Sword. We're just playing the first one because, again, spoilers. But it's a series of point-and-click adventures. And as I said at the top of the show, they just recently kickstarted a fourth entry into the series, which looks like it's going to be very pretty. Very pretty. So pretty. So, kind of looking forward to that. Kind of looking forward to, well, if these are good. I imagine if they got $775,000 to kickstart the fourth one, that some people might like these. Just throwing that out there. If I can find it. But yeah, if you buy the bundle, you get all three. All of them are under the $4.99 threshold. Kind of think they should have put one above the $4.99 threshold, just so you get a taster and then donate more if you wanted the rest of them. But that's just me. I didn't make the bundle, and it seems they did okay otherwise with this, so I'm not going to complain.
Paris, city of love, romance, and dreams.
And you can play this full screen.
So they
it's
say.
just you'd get black bars on the side if I game sourced it that way. So I decided to go windowed.
I've always associated my beloved Paris with death.
Kid cat. How old school is that? Actually, like, animated too. It says no CGI. Nice. Clearly, judging by the last names, this game is European as all get out. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm seeing like French names, UK names. It's crazy. It's all over the place. Maybe some Greek. Kitty, what are you doing?
I was at home having a bath when my editor called.
We're gonna start off with a bath scene.
Gala, get your ass over to the Palais Royal now. You got an interview. With Pierre Carchon. Yes, the Pierre Carchon.
I'm
No
so glad it's
photos, so
voice
leave your
acting.
gear at home. He has for you
Hopefully it is all the way
personally.
through, because I don't want to have to
Don't ask me
read
why.
everything ever.
Anyhow, this could be big, so if he makes a pass, don't forget. Just smile, say yes, and keep taking notes.
So charming and so very apt. Pierre Carchon was a media king, a national hero, and one of the most infamous adulterers in Europe. He and his wife Imelda were just one step down from royalty. Whoa, I hate mimes,
I
but
don't like
unless
this
you
one.
humor them, they don't go away.
Never mind that I just
Here
played
I was,
Rain Slick Precipice,
the
so
palace of the media
I'm doubly
king
afraid
and
of
the
mimes.
ice queen. I pressed the doorbell and set in motion a chain of events which would change my life forever.
Yes? What is it?
Madame, my name is Nico Collard. I'm here to see Monsieur Carchon.
Come up, we're on the first floor.
Really creepy mime.
Madame Carchon, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, I'm sure.
The Ice Queen was certainly living up to her reputation. Will you be staying for the interview?
Mademoiselle, I know little of my husband's
I
business
refuse
affairs,
to believe
and I
anybody
care
who
even
can freehand
less.
a circle that
I
well with a
certainly
glass
have no
cutter.
intention of watching him pour
No
over
way.
yet another pretty little journalist.
Pretty. You're too kind, madame.
The talented and very beautiful Mademoiselle Collard. Such a pleasure to meet you at last.
Monsieur Carchon, I am honored.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Call me Pierre, please.
What a bish.
But I do not flatter you idly. I was a friend of your father. He was a great man.
My father, he never mentioned.
He and I were very close. And then his death.
How
So tragic.
convenient.
I must... Imelda, your damned cat's in my study again. Another Ming vase, I suppose. Excuse me for one moment, my dear girl.
You journalists are getting younger each year.
Perhaps it's the rest of the world getting older, madame. That was no cat. My God, what? Monsieur Carson!
I love how she didn't even, like, suspect the mime. I mean, I understand the amount of shock finding a dead body would be, but finding a mime
He's
in
dead.
there, just like...
I must call the
saw you.
police. You'd better stay here. There was a man. It was the mime. Do you think he...
Well, I believe we can rule out suicide, don't you?
No wonder they called her the Ice Queen. She would have been top of my list of suspects if I hadn't seen the attacker myself. And if I hadn't come across a couple of murders just like this already. One
really?
of the most important men in Europe murdered. And here was I, Nico Coulard, alone at the scene of the crime. Should I wait for the cops? Or start my own investigation? It was a no-brainer.
It's time to point and or click. Oh, it's even got little hint indicators. I kind of wonder if you can turn those off. Okay. Pointer passes over an object with which you can interact. It will change to an animating icon reflecting the available action. Press the left mouse button to perform that action. Click on the briefcase to open inventory and display objects that you are carrying. Diary to access the diary. Question mark to get puzzle hints and interface help. Spanner icon to save and restore a game. Okay, that's the stuff on the bottom there. Okay. So let's look at it.
A bust of Pierre Cauchon, humble servant of La France.
Need a bust of himself?
A small round piece of glass had been cut out of the pane. This was a professional job.
Anything else I can look at?
Mimes and guns don't usually go together, but I had an idea that this was no ordinary mime. I'd come across this murderer before, and written about him. The costume killer. At least that's what I'd called him.
I think it would have been funny if the mime used just like a hand motion, like, pew! It actually worked.
The bookcase was filled with obscure
It's a little too
first
much
editions.
magical realism. Wasn't paying attention.
It contained rows of titles I didn't recognize. Programming the Z80 by Rodney Zacks. Ah, the romance, the drama, the great classic novels had a lot to learn. It contained rows of titles I didn't recognize.
Kind of like that they added multiple dialogue lines for each interaction.
Pierre Cauchon again. His eyes seemed to follow me around the room.
That's creepy. I guess we'll look at the door. I like the visual
The
style
killer
of this.
must have used a ladder to reach the window. He was long gone. Guess he folded that ladder up, popped it in his pocket and took it with him.
Or used an invisible one. Alright, well, we're done here, so I think. Alright.
The police could turn up at any minute. Somewhere there were clues to the murder, and I needed to find them.
I didn't see any remnants of a vase in there.
A
That should
Louis
have been in there.
XIV table with an antique cloth. Imelda had taste. But hey, with a husband that rich, taste is easy.
True that.
A beautiful cloth had been draped over the table. It was embroidered with an unusual cross. I reckoned that cloth might just turn out to be useful.
Yoink.
Even my fingernail wouldn't fit into such a small hole.
That's what she said. That is actually what she said. So you probably have to find a pen or something to jam in there. Or a paintbrush.
It was a tube of acrylic paint. French ultramarine. Just the color I was after for my bathroom.
I'm sorry, I have to go. Someone is...
Young lady, what are you doing? Oh, this paint. It's my favorite color.
For God's sake, keep the damn stuff.
Imelda had talent, but I certainly wasn't going to tell her that.
I guess I have to talk to her. As loath as I am to do so.
Excuse me, madame.
Yes?
I am so sorry for your loss, madame.
No, you're not. You're a journalist. Journalists don't feel sorry.
Not true.
We shall see.
How did your husband know my father?
I have no idea.
You didn't know him? Thierry Collard?
Pierre knew a lot of people I didn't know, most of them women.
Cold.
Why would a mime want to kill your husband?
Pierre had plenty of enemies. Half the husbands in Paris for a start.
Why did your husband send for me? What did he want to discuss?
I have no idea. His business was his business.
He never told you anything?
No.
I never
And frankly,
checked
I
to see if his
preferred it
body
that
had
way.
anything on
This
it.
is quite a scoop for you. I suppose you're already inventing the headlines.
Just because I am a journalist.
Don't patronize me. You're all cut from the same cloth. Do you have any moral sense at all?
I don't like her.
I certainly don't let it get in the way of a good story.
I admire your loyalty to your profession.
The police will be here soon, madame. Is there anybody you would like me to contact? Family, friends?
No, I have no family. Pierre and I were... He was all I had, really. Not much, was it? The dutiful wife. That was my role. He never talked, never let me in.
I know one thing, madame.
What?
Well, that was a great
If
marriage.
you want to find out who killed your husband, then
You
you
just stop
let me
being
do the
huge
job,
bitch.
not the police.
Why? How do I know I can trust you?
I'll lighten up a
Your
little.
husband invited me here today because he needed me. I think he knew somebody wanted to kill him, and he knew I could help.
I doubt it was your database he was after.
You're wrong. I was onto his killers already. I am sure of it. Please, you owe it to him.
I don't know.
All I need
That's
is a
why
few more
the
minutes to
mime
look around
recognized
before
her.
the police come.
I think perhaps you do have a moral sense. Of sorts. You're not a very good liar, Nico Collard. And perhaps Pierre really did think that you could help. Of course it wouldn't have stopped him seducing you, too. Here, take this. It's the key to the drawing room next to the library at the end of the hall. It was Pierre's room. I rarely went in there. I couldn't. I was too scared of what I might find.
Pile of lady bodies.
Thank you. I promise you won't regret this.
Can I ask her about the paint?
Madame Cachon,
Please call me Imelda. We hardly need the formalities now, do we?
did Monsieur Cachon say nothing to you about my father?
Did I just
No.
repeat?
I'm sorry, he never mentioned him.
Okay.
The last thing she needed to talk about was paint.
Shush.
Thank you. You have your own reason for taking the cloth. Please keep it.
Alright.
I was sure that there was more to find. I just had to keep looking.
Oh, can I look at the tapestry too?
A magnificent antique table. A medieval pageant. Original, no doubt. The tapestry must have cost a fortune. A magnificent antique table.
I wonder if the, Okay, I can't use it on anything here. Or can I? That's where the hole is. Yeah, alright. Go back in here, see if he had anything on his person.
Pierre Cachon was stiff for the last time.
That is hilarious.
I closed his eyes. It was the least I could do for the poor fellow. Some people hate searching corpses for clues. Me, I'm okay with it. Reminds me of an old boyfriend. In his pocket, I found a ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. Taking the ticket meant I tampered with the evidence. There was no going back now.
Dramatic effect. I'm gonna probably ask her about the bateau.
I opened his eyes. Best to leave the crime scene as I found it. I closed his eyes.
I'm gonna leave him closed.
It was the least I could do for the poor fellow.
Do-do-do-do-do.
The door was locked.
Forced me to use the key.
Now we were getting somewhere.
Were we?
I didn't need the lights on. It was light enough already. The painting showed the Cachons together, in
Why is there a
love.
button on the frame?
As the poet said, the past is a different country. Or did I read that in a fortune cookie? The painting was attached firmly to the wall. There was the very faintest of clicks.
I seem to have activated something. Maybe in the table?
This wasn't the time for me to lie on the sofa doing my Marie Antoinette impression, though it is very popular at parties, especially with gay guys. Don't ask me why.
Or maybe I unlocked that
As
door.
expected, the desk was yet another priceless antique. Yawn. The blotter and in tray had clearly been placed with mathematical precision.
Great feng shui.
My heart skipped a beat. It was a carved elephant. But not just any carved elephant.
A
It
really
had been
nice
made
carved elephant.
by my father.
Aw.
I knew for certain because in my apartment I had its exact twin, carved into a box he had made. So Cachon had known my father. They really must have been friends. I decided to take the carved elephant. It clearly meant nothing to Imelda.
Rifle, rifle, rifle.
I didn't need a sheet of blotting paper. Not while it was blank. I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it. I didn't want to take...
Do you have anything that'll go in it?
No.
What can I use it for?
I'd spread blue paint over the bottom of the tray. It was ruined. I was a very bad girl, but also quite a clever one. I didn't
Why?
want to take the... In a way, I was going back to art school.
See, I don't know how to use a blotter, so... I don't know what this is gonna do.
No.
Probably need something else for it.
No.
The elephant, maybe?
No. I didn't need a sheet of...
Alright. Maybe there's something else I can use.
Locked. Not surprising, really.
The same key work for it? Probably not.
It didn't work, but I guess it would have been...
Alright, is there anything else I haven't checked out?
This wasn't the time, though.
Let me see if something clicked in the table here.
Even my It wouldn't fit.
Maybe the tusk of the elephant?
It wouldn't fit. It wouldn't fit.
Alright, let me go back and talk to her. Okay, right click to move without doing stuff. Aye.
Did you find anything useful?
This carving. Do you know anything about it?
It was Pierre's. What does the statue have to do with...
Please, I need to know.
He was given it by a friend. Something to do with Africa.
He
We
never
get to go to
explained
Africa?
anymore.
Yay.
No. But I think it was important to him. Always on display. Why?
It was carved by my father.
Oh, I see. I didn't know.
Just one thing. I know this is going to sound strange, but did your husband ever mention... Did he ever talk to you about a penguin? Or a snowman?
What? I don't understand.
He
I guess
never
wants to
mentioned
know.
people dressed up as penguins.
Nico, I don't know what you're talking. My dear, you should go before the police arrive. There will be many awkward questions. I am grateful that you stayed. You've been so kind.
Please, call if there is anything I can do. I'd
I don't know what I'm supposed
misjudged
to do
her.
with the blotter.
She had every reason to be bitter, living with a guy like Carchon. From the sound of it, no one and nothing was safe around him. Maybe I should have interrogated the cat after all.
Maybe I will. They're not kicking me out yet.
There was no one I needed to phone. Not until I had solved this case.
I wanted to ask her about the ticket.
Excuse me, Imelda.
Yes?
So, her husband took secret boat trips. Did she really need to see the ticket?
Okay, so it was to a boat.
I was sure that there was more to find. I just had to keep looking.
Let me see if the click activated anything in the other room. Pretty sure I'm done with the body.
A bust of Pierre Carchon. It contained rows of titles I didn't recognize. The killer must have used a ladder to reach the window.
Okay, is there anything on the floor here? What the heck? I don't just want to leave without solving the first area.
A magnificent...
Alright,
I didn't...
I got the click. Oh, now I can pull it off.
Behind the picture was a safe. The safe was locked. I needed the key.
This is probably not the key.
It was the wrong kind of key.
Okay. It's gotta have something to do with this thing.
No. No.
Oh, put it on the thing.
No.
Or don't.
No. 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 No.
Put more paint in there?
There wasn't enough paint. No. I didn't want to in a way. I didn't. It was a sheet of blotting paper in a leather holder. Its cracked surface looked ancient, reminded me of its owner. I'd ruined the tray, but I was on my way to solving a clue. I didn't want to, in a way.
But how? I don't know how to use the blotting tray. How do you use one of these? I'm gonna look it up. Highly absorbent type of paper. Okay. So I need something that's got something written on it.
No.
Creepy mime. So there's got to be something I can blot, but what?
Locked, not...
I guess I'll talk to her again. I don't know.
Imelda had but I certainly... Excuse me, Imelda.
Yes?
And this is why we freed up the time constraints. Do 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 do.
Thank you. Let me give you the key back. I didn't need it anymore.
Okay, cool.
Would you like to take the elephant back?
No, my...
The last thing she needed to talk about was pay.
Alright.
Are you sure you don't know anything about my father?
Positive.
Alright, well that ends the line of questioning.
I was sure that there was more to find. I just had to keep looking. Even the telephone was antique. Never trust anyone who owns a phone like that.
Now that I know I can right-click to do the alternate action.
There was a tiny hole in the tabletop. Part of the inlay had been chipped away. Pierre Carchon was stiff for the last time. I had closed his eyes. Rigor mortis hadn't set in yet. Carchon had been shot.
Thanks, Captain Obvious. Okay, so there's nothing left on him.
This was the work of the mime. Unless the cat was in on it too. I didn't want to cut myself and leave blood on the glass. Call me old-fashioned, but I like to keep my DNA to myself.
Good point.
Your original 18th century high-security window handle. A bust of Pierre Cauchon.
There's nothing else here I can look at. Alright. What am I missing? Okay, view doesn't scroll over any further.
Even the light switch looked impressive.
Will it tell me what kind of key
The
I
safe
need?
looked pretty secure. The sofa was antique. For one horrible moment, I had an image of a naked Cauchon wriggling around on it with a young journalist. Oh. It was a back door. It was a sheet of blotting paper.
Alright.
I didn't... no. I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew... In a way, I was going... no.
I'm missing some piece of the puzzle here. This is driving me nuts. I can't think of anything. There's nothing else interactive, that's the problem. I'm gonna check the body one more time. I've got to be missing something there.
Pierre Cachon was stiff for the last time.
Wait a second.
It was one of my hair clips. My favorite, in fact. It must have fallen when I was knocked down.
Oh, and that'll pop the table. Alright, now I feel a little better. Even though I've wasted like 15 minutes just trying to figure that out.
Aha! Nico, you are just so damn good at this stuff. Instead of comforting Imelda, I was ransacking her flat. Why? Because there was something going on here, and I had to get answers before the cops arrived.
And hey,
she'd been rude to me, so she had it coming.
Cool. I didn't want to go in there. Whoops. Pop this bad boy, and I think we'll be done with this area finally.
In the safe was some kind of artifact. There were strange symbols on its surface.
Printer's blocks
like
I'd
the
made at
printer's
art
blocks
school.
I'd made at art school.
Use that with the blotter.
If there was one thing I'd learned about symbols, they are always important. But these symbols scratched into stone were impossible to read. I needed to find a way of printing them. At least the stone was round. But what could I use for ink? And what could I print on? Sure, I was stealing, but I knew Imelda didn't know about the artifact, and Cachon was past caring.
I like that kind of attitude. Dead man don't give an F. No F's are given by the dead. Funny how one little thing, like a hairpin, can completely screw you over.
I rolled the artifact in the paint until it was completely coated. Genius! The roller and the paint worked just as I planned, but what did it say?
Sub Judas.
It was some kind of coded message. It read, subjudice. I may not have learned a lot as a journalist, but that was a term I knew well. It means a legal case that is before the courts. Below it was a sequence of letters that made no sense. I suddenly realized there was a connection between the boat ticket and the coded message.
Really?
The boat ticket was stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. The conciergerie on the Ile de la Cité, by the river, housed the ancient law courts.
Ooh.
So, subjudice could in this case mean literally under the law courts, below the conciergerie. I was pretty sure I'd found all I could here. And besides, all this opulence was making me pine for my regular life of poverty. This was a huge story. It was also one heck of a puzzle with a lot of pieces missing. But I was going to crack it. And if I could just remember the name of that fancy prize you get for being an ace journalist, I was definitely going to win it this time.
Alright, well, I'm going to save there. Cool. And that rather lengthy session was Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars Director's Cut. You also get the sequels to that game if you pay over $4.99 for the bundle. Anyway, we are going to move along far later than I anticipated, but again, this is why I don't do this in the 2-hour mark anymore.